Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. We have a lot of MIIs today. So, John, it's you and I. And you say Bob Coleman. You're not Bob Coleman, John. I just want you to know.
I'm not Bob Coleman.
But you're sounding good. You're looking good. We're a little equipment change here.
Yeah.
So let's talk SBA. What are you working on these days?
Well, I had the opportunity to meet with the senior management of Huntington Bank in Columbus. Learned a lot about Huntington. It's a great bank, and one thing I learned is they have no connection to Huntington, West Virginia, which was my having never studied the matter. That was my assumption. I would have. Their name was tied to a place.
Yeah.
And it's not that far from Columbus. I just figured they migrated to the bigger city over time, but they were founded by a gentleman, by a family named Huntington, and they kept that name all these years. And so that's just a little bit of trivia.
The Huntingtons in the Huntington Railroads in California.
They are connected to that family, related to that family, but that's a different branch of the family. And the founder of the bank, who was the CEO until I think it's 1918, if I remember right, he founded the bank after the Civil War and was the CEO until 1918. He has a very 19th century name, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong about this, but I think it's Pelatiah. I'm pretty sure it's Pelatiah is how it's pronounced.
I love it.
And the family, his children ran Huntington, so the family stayed active and influential in the bank for quite a while. That's no longer the case. But what's more to the point is they are the number one SBA lender in the country by measured by number of loans. That was definitely true last year, and I'm looking at the rankings, the pretty much up to the date rankings as of 2/12. They are clearly the number one.
By 2 times. Yeah, I mean, my numbers for end of year, fiscal year 5,600. The next largest was TD Bank with 2,100. So they're by number of loans, absolutely.
Right, and now they're just under 2,400 loans
for the year.
But what's interesting is they have traditionally been tied is the wrong word, but traditionally focused on their Midwestern footprint, and that's very heavy in Ohio and Michigan. I think they're the number one bank I know in Ohio, I think in Michigan as well.
Yeah, Ohio,
they're growing in Illinois, in the Chicago area. They're growing in Minnesota. They're growing in Colorado. So they're beginning to expand a little bit past the Midwest, but the Mountain West. But they're talking about expanding their SBA program nationwide, and I think that's significant. Anytime your number one lender takes a decision like that, I don't have logistics, I don't have numbers, I don't have projections. I just have that
commitment,
that general goal, and I think it's a significant goal, though. And I know a number of other lenders, smaller lenders, want to do the same thing. They want to expand SBA lending, both 7A and 504. But I did, the thought hit me today. I never have really asked about the opposite, which is, are there institutions, significant 7A lenders, whether bank or credit union, that are thinking of downsizing for whatever reason? Maybe
John, it just so happens we have the ability to ask that question. Michael?
Oddly enough, it's all teed up.
It doesn't come up for me. So John, I'm going to let you read it. I don't, for some reason, my computer.
Well, the question is, are you considering downsizing your SBA operations in 2023? And it's a 2-option poll, yes or no.
All right. And I'll let you read the answers because I don't know.
Well, it is, there are a handful, I would say, that said yes, but really a handful. The no's are in excess or at or in excess of 95%.
Yeah.
So there's always, I guess,
There's a few.
couple.
And why do you want to ask that question? Why is that an important question for you?
I think it's a barometer of the health of the industry and the health of the agency. If there were problems either in the industry with small business lending, there might be a decision to take resources and focus them elsewhere. And if there were problems at the agency that just made this this business too difficult,
yes,
and time consuming and frustrating, I think same result. There would be banks and credit unions that just would pick up and say we can take these resources and use them better elsewhere. But the answer overwhelmingly is no. We're certainly not thinking of downsizing.
And that also reflects the audience, the people who
yes.
down to the shore, people who want to know what's going on. Absolutely. Hey, Michael.
They're the most invested and they're the most knowledgeable. So I think that's an important.
Does Huntington have a specific niche that they're going after? Are they? I don't have the numbers in front of me in terms of their average loan size. What is there anything that makes them special? Or are they a generalist?
I think they're pretty general in their approach to the market. They have a few specialized programs. One that stands out and that I've written about is Lift Local. It's and a lot of times I get that wrong. There's only two ways of saying it, and most of the time I choose the wrong way. It's a Lift Local program, and what it is they focus not exclusively, but they focus on groups that have been disadvantaged historically. They focus on small dollar loans. So these are, early stage entrepreneurs, and, they're talking about loans of no more than $150,000. So, and many of those loans, if not most of those Lift loans, I'll just say Lift, are for a lot less than that. So, I think that's certainly interesting. They, when you do 5,600 loans in a year, you're going to do a lot of larger loans, and that probably kicks the average loans up. But their loan size is among the, definitely among the smaller average loan sizes among big lenders.
Did they telegraph any number goals, or just hey, this is what we want to do? Okay.
I think it's just a very general aspirational thing. I know they're working towards it. It's more than just an aspiration or
logistically, how would they do it? Would they open up loan production off? They didn't get that far. Okay, that's just it's a goal that they want to do. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking lenders, tell us about. I'd like to follow what Barry Sloan's doing over at Newtek. They have the charter now.
They have the charter.
I know you follow them. What's going on with Newtek?
They are a bank. In the past, they've been an SBC, and the goal is to be. I guess this will make the process for them of doing business easier. It's not necessarily going to change. I guess it will change. They have a different business proposition for their clients. And they have a different business model for the overall organization. And by business model, I mean where they get their money, or at least a significant portion of it. That can now come from deposits, which are cost less than going to the capital markets. So their business becomes more efficient, and they can offer more to their customers. So it potentially makes them a more formidable competitor.
Well, I have a lot of respect for what Barry's doing, and that's why I'd like to follow what Newtek's doing. I mean, like every other company, there are hiccups, but they certainly managed very well the bank serve problems they had, and they came out at the other end much stronger. So good for them. You mentioned something I want to follow up with. You said some banks are leaving because of difficulties with SBA.
Well, I mentioned that I wanted to know if banks are leaving because of difficulties, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, because I've heard under there's some obviously SBA when they come down, as any government agency does, and they hammer you. life can be difficult.
Yes. Yes. And I guess it, and Lance is a better person to talk about this than I, but it, gets to the importance of the process and the importance of really professionalizing, your SBA team, making sure that they are very attuned to the rules and regulations.
Absolutely. I mean, in 2023, it's much different than it was even 5 years ago. I mean, it's definitely the post-recession. A lot of the level of professionalism and transparency and reporting and accuracy has increased very much. So, while we're talking lenders, is there another lender? I'm going to put you on the spot. Any other lender that you have your eye on that's interesting to follow?
Well, I'm just looking at like who will be the next, and I think it's Bayview in Tampa.
Okay.
They are a lender that last year they sort of made a very significant pivot. They were known as a home lender, and they had a national mortgage program, national home lending program, and they downsized. They left mortgage lending on a national basis and pivoted really heavily into SBA and specifically into small dollar SBA. They have a program where they do loans of $150,000 or less, and they did significant volume there. I think their 2022 calendar year volume was close to 1,000 of those small loans, and they've gone from sort of, I don't want to say zero because they were an SBA lender prior to all of this, but they've gone from say 30 to 60 in a very quick interval.
John, is that with Bay First?
Bay First, and I'm sorry, but they're based in San Diego. I said San Diego. They're based in Tampa.
Yeah.
So
they ranked last year by number were 8, and by dollar amount were 8. They did, as you said, 974 loans for $328 million.
Right.
So top 10 lender.
And I guess what I'm looking for is the next Bay First.
Okay.
That's what I'll be looking for, because I think there are enough banks, credit unions also that are getting into the field, and I'm very interested to see what the new business models are, how they intend to do business and to grow.
John, is it appropriate for people to contact you directly if they want to, or
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Okay, I don't want to. Okay, John, with American Banker, if you want, send me an email and I'll be happy to forward it to John. We'll make life simple. But John, hey John, I really appreciate your reporting. That's awesome, and we need to do more of that. You have a wealth of knowledge of that I don't have, and other people. We're so focused on what we do, we don't see the big picture. So that was awesome. Everyone, be sure and check out Lance's webinar on Wednesday. If how to protect your SBA PLP license. I'm going to steal John's tagline and difficulties with SBA. If you have difficulties with SBA, protect. Anyway, that's going to be on Wednesday. Shoot me an email. We'll be happy to take care of you.
Right. But it's important to refer back to the poll. Is not a lot of banks do, or at least they whatever difficulties they have, don't rise to the level where they want to get out of the program.
They want to get out of it. You know what? SBA is we're all in this together. It's a great product. Hey, everyone out there, you're creating jobs. I mean, come on. What's wrong with that? John, thank you so much for your time. You're looking good. You're sounding good. We got a little bit new equipment for you. So take care of your son. We'll leave early. Thank you very much today. Thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today for today's episode. If you like today's content, hit that subscribe button to subscribe to our channel and click that bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. Thank you again for joining us today and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time. Catch you next time.